It's also divisible. I already mentioned that it's to 8 decimal points. But this creates some really interesting business models and business opportunities. And so all of you who are entrepreneurs on this conference call, there are some unique things you can do involving micropayments that you just can't do with other types of payments. For example, PayPal, you have minimum transaction fees that make it uneconomical to engage in certain types of businesses. So there's some really neat programs and tools that are being invented out there that allow you to make micropayments and make tips. And you know, if you blog at all, you can put a Bitcoin payment address on there, and people can send you micro tips and micropayments if they like your content. And they can send you 10 cents or 20 cents or 50 cents and not have it all eaten up in transaction fees. Bitcoin is also extremely efficient. It's just like cash over the internet. It gives you immediate payment, just like sending an email. And once you've received that payment and it's been confirmed by the network, it is irreversible. So that it reduces your fraud risk, because your customer can't order your product and then later charge back that transaction and leave you stuck with no product and having to refund money to them. So this is a huge benefit. And Bitcoin is also defendable. If you remember at the beginning of this presentation, I mentioned the fact that freedom is self-defense. Your level of freedom is in direct proportion to the degree of protection that you have secured for yourself. And Bitcoin, unlike gold, silver, or cash, is the ultimate flight capital. And let me give you an example. If you just happen to be a persecuted minority in your jurisdiction, just like the Jews were in Nazi Germany or the Mormons in early U.S. history, you could be forced out of your home and forced to flee. And it's really hard to pack up all your assets and carry them with you. If you have gold bars or silver, it's very hard to carry those on your person for any length of distance. And it's also very hard to get through border crossings without having all those assets stripped from you. Whereas with Bitcoin, you could have your wallet, they don't call them Bitcoin accounts, they call them Bitcoin wallets, but you could have your wallet passwords or keys stored inside your brain, and you could have nothing on your physical person, yet you could cross a border, tap into the internet on the other side, and have access to your millions of dollars in assets. So it is the ultimate flight capital. Also, it's private. There is no ID or permission slips required. You don't have to, like a bank account, you don't have to show an ID. You don't have to, you know, give a blood sample. I'm being facetious here, but it feels like that anytime now that you want to open up a bank account. Where if you have tried to set up a payment processor for your website, the hoops you have to jump through to get a credit card merchanting service is a nightmare. With Bitcoin, you just simply download the client, get yourself a Bitcoin address, and you're in business within a couple of minutes. You need nobody's permission to do that. That is huge, and that's why we're seeing some of the growth rates. So it also opens you up to the global marketplace. So let's talk about that. WordPress, the 22nd most visited website on the planet, just announced 3 weeks ago that they're going to accept Bitcoin as payment for their products and services. And let's read what their reasoning was behind this, and that way you can get a feel for why this is so important for the future and for your business of expanding your market reach for your online business. So let's read it here. And it starts out by saying, PayPal alone blocks access from over 60 countries, and many credit card companies have similar restrictions. Some are blocked for political reasons, some because of higher fraud rates, and some for other financial reasons. Whatever the reason, we don't think an individual blogger from Haiti, Ethiopia, or Kenya should have diminished access to the blogosphere because of payment issues they can't control. Our goal is to enable people, not block them. So let's continue on here. WordPress goes on to say, Bitcoin is a digital currency that enables instant payments over the internet. Unlike credit cards and PayPal, Bitcoin has no central authority and no way to lock entire countries out of the network. Merchants who accept Bitcoin payments can do business with anyone. So think about that for a moment. You open yourself up to the global marketplace. In the previous slide, there's 60 countries that PayPal doesn't allow. Those are 60 new countries that you can market your products and services to. So let's continue on here. I already talked about the fraud protection. You don't get chargebacks or frozen PayPal accounts. If any of you have been in online business for any length of time, you've heard the horror stories, or if you experienced them personally, about how PayPal oftentimes arbitrarily will freeze your accounts up to 6 months, and you have an extremely difficult time in getting your funds out. So ask yourself right now, if you're using PayPal, if they locked up your account today, how long could you continue to stay in business without access to your funds? A great website to go read about some of these horror stories, if you don't believe me, is it's called PayPalSucks.com. So go to PayPalSucks.com, and hopefully that'll encourage you to start building up a plan B for accepting your payments. Also, Bitcoin is revolutionary, potentially the greatest invention since the internet itself. This is a huge statement, and it's 100% true. If you got into the internet game late and you weren't one of those early guys that made a fortune by being the first to the internet, now's your second chance by being one of the first to adopt Bitcoin and incorporate it in your products and services, and maybe even start developing products and services that Bitcoin now enables that the internet otherwise didn't enable prior to this. So there is huge opportunity here. It's like the Wild West all over again. It's your second chance at making a fortune on the internet if you can learn how to harness this power that Bitcoin has. One other statistic here, Bitcoin's gone up 230% in the last 12 months. If you're holding your money in dollars, another way to look at this is in the last 12 months, your dollars have lost whatever the opposite of 230% is. So you could have been 230% better off if you would have had your funds sitting in Bitcoin the last year instead of dollars or whatever currency you're using. So let's look at that in a chart here. This is the Bitcoin price. Last February, a year ago, it was trading at about $6 a Bitcoin. Today, it just closed, crossed over 14. I think a little while ago it was $14.25 or something like that. So it's been moving very strong. Let's go into a little more. Right now, there's currently only 10.6 million Bitcoins in circulation. As I mentioned earlier, the most that there will ever be is 21 million. So they're being introduced into the money supply at a predetermined rate. And so the value of the current supply of Bitcoin is over $145 million as of today, or yesterday, up a little more today. And so now here's another really cool video that I want to play for you guys. It's just a short clip. It's called Screw Banks. And if any of you have ever been frustrated at paying bank transfer fees and wire fees and ATM fees and check cashing fees and overdrawn fees, and if you've ever been tired of taking 3 days to have your money go from one side of the planet to the other, when Bitcoin allows instant payments, I think you'll appreciate this this video here. So let's go ahead and roll the tape here, and you guys can watch this with me. And we'll provide links to these later so you can go back and view them.
You're upset with the banks, but you keep banking with them. You're upset with Wall Street, but you keep buying their stocks. And you're really pissed off with brokers stealing your money. And the government is letting them get away with it. There is an alternative. It's called Bitcoin. No person controls it. No corporation controls it. And no government can control it. Bitcoin cannot be counterfeited. It cannot be diluted. It is controlled by all the people who use it. With Bitcoin, you can send money like you send an email. Anytime, anywhere, for little or no cost. If you're upset with the stupid bank fees, if you don't like the high fees for remittance, use Bitcoins instead. If you don't like PayPal's bullying, use Bitcoins instead. If you really want to impact the banks where they feel it most, don't use them. Screw banks. Use Bitcoins instead. You're upset.
I love that video. That just, it brings tears to my eyes every time I watch it because I love that. But so it just gives you the power to take, you reclaim control over your own money, and that's what Bitcoin enables you to do. So let's continue on here. I've created a Bitcoin resource guide that's designed to help get you up to the fast track on Bitcoin. You become an expert in no time. You learn how to acquire them, how to buy them, how to sell them, how to trade them, how to secure your Bitcoin holdings, because it does require responsibility because you become your own bank. So you have to take steps to protect your Bitcoins. And there's many heartbreaking stories of people who didn't take it seriously. One case in particular, an individual had $500,000 worth of Bitcoins on his laptop. He didn't have his wallet encrypted. He didn't take proper safeguards, and someone hacked his computer and lifted those from him. So don't make that mistake. Make sure you study the resources. So I've created a website that also has a affiliate program promoting our asset protection tools and strategies. It's called freemarketincome.com. And I have a page on that site that's free to access. And the name of that page is called Private Bank Account. So you click on Private Bank Account, and that'll give you everything that you can want to know about Bitcoin. It has the videos we just saw, plus several additional videos, special essays on there, economic analysis, myths about Bitcoin. Everything is there. Exchanges around the world that you can use to go in and out of Bitcoin. It'll make give you a black belt in Bitcoin if you study that page. So let's continue on to other tools that you can use. I know I spent a lot of time on Bitcoin, but it truly is revolutionary, and it opens the door to new possibilities. And one of the coolest and exciting possibilities right now is called the virtual corporation. And before I jump into it, I want to just point out to those of you on this conference call where you can read an essay that was written back in the 90s. So you can probably all see my screen here. This is what my website looks like here, the keepyourassets.net. You go over to the right-hand side, and there's a little link that says traditional privacy joins the digital revolution. When you click on it, it's going to pull up this article right here called written by Duncan Frizzell. It was written back in the early 90s, as the internet was just being discovered, and people were philosophizing and predicting what it would enable people to do. And this particular essay is incredible because it almost to the point predicts what's happening today, and the power that it gives the individual to achieve more freedom in their lives. So when you get a chance, go visit it, read that. I encourage you to download it. It's essential reading for anyone who operates on the internet and wants to keep and protect their money. So let's talk about this virtual corporation concept, because that essay alludes to this idea, and now we're seeing the future come true. So the virtual corporation is a corporation or a company that exists solely in cyberspace. You see, cyberspace is the ultimate offshore tax haven, and because of inventions like encryption and Bitcoin, it automatically makes irrelevant most of your traditional offshore structures. Your offshore corporations, your offshore bank accounts are out the window now and no longer needed when you can harness and use the power of Bitcoin, encryption, and this concept called the virtual corporation. And best of all, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to go find an offshore service provider, pay thousands of dollars for an offshore corporation, go jump through hoops and provide reference letters and utility bills and passports to offshore banks and hope they grant you the privilege of putting your money in their bank. You no longer have to do that baloney. You're in control of your money now. You're in control of your business, and the virtual corporation shows you how to do that. So cyberspace, the ultimate offshore tax haven.